Hi, I'm Tara. I'm a studio owner and operator of Epidavros Center for Wellbeing. I'm here to offer you January's pose of the month. It's called Virabhadrasana 1 or Warrior 1. And this pose is a pose that's accessible to absolutely everybody without offering any contraindications or risks that would be serious. So it really can be modified for anybody's fitness level. You simply spread your feet further apart, forward and back. If you want more intensity, and you keep your feet closer together, forward and back, if you want less. Those of you who are challenged with balance, maybe me, you may want a wider foot pattern side to side, and this will give you more stability. So depending on the class that you're in, you will get into this pose in a couple of different ways. If you're in a flow class, you're going to come into it often from a lunge. And if you're in a hatha style class or a gentle class, you're probably going to come into the pose from standing or maybe a lunge. So, but all the principles are the same. So we're just going to pretend that we're simply coming right into this pose from standing, usually from the front of your mat. So here I am at the front of my mat, and often I'll have my students work on their balance and stability by standing in what we call mountain pose at the front of the mat. And you would really ground down through your feet, find a focal point, shift your weight to one foot, this time my left foot, and then I'll step my right foot, hopefully gracefully back where it needs to land. If it doesn't hit the mark the first time, take a couple of steps. So what happens when you step that foot back, the idea is keep your pelvis neutral, facing forward. I ground my back heel. Whatever back foot we're talking about is going to point outward from forward by about 45 degrees, but not more than 45 degrees if possible. That'll protect your back knee. So yeah, your calf muscle needs to stretch and your Achilles tendon and such need to stretch, but that will happen over time. So your back foot could be pointing at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So I ground my heel. And then I can take my hands to my hips and try to level them out so that they're evenly forward. Then I'll bend my forward knee over the forward ankle. And I'll notice that my tail begins to tip up. I begin to back bend. So what I want to do is begin to drop my forward hip down a bit and back a bit to lift my back hip up a bit and forward a bit to bring that pelvis a little more neutral. So you're going to press down through your back heel so that your leg begins to straighten and spin your inner back thigh to the ceiling and wall joint behind you. As you continue to bend your forward knee over the ankle, you also want to contract the hamstring muscles. These are the muscles on the underside or back side of your thigh. And then you want to lengthen up through the chest, drop shoulders back and down, but keep a connection of the frontal ribs to the frontal hips. So you're not just back bending and letting the belly bulge out here in this pose. So with the shoulders down, the chest elevated, and the spine long, you can keep the hands here. You can bring them to Anjali Mudra, or you can extend over the head. So continually dropping those shoulders and engaging through the four corners of each foot. You're going to lengthen up, possibly even taking your gaze up. Some people like to bind their hands up here. Some people like to bind them behind. Some people don't like to bind them at all. So any of these approaches to the arms is great. And you just want to make sure that once you get into the pose, you find your breath and just continue to breathe and enjoy the aspects of warrior pose, which will build confidence, strength, and stability. Namaste.